I'd like to call the village board meeting to order, number 3055. Clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan. Here. Kim.
Here.
Voss.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Abernathy.
Here.
Semple.
Here.
Great. Let's rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. The first order of business is the approval of minutes from June 24th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Voss,
Second.
second by Abernathy. Any discussion? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Very good. Minutes are approved. Next on our agenda is the time where we do public commentary. Does anyone wish to address the board at this time? Okay, couple hands. We'll start over here and a couple more. When you do come up, can you please first just give your name and address so that Mr. Flynn can get the right information and we get the minutes accurate, okay?
Say my name, you said?
Please, yeah, just state your name and
My name is Darwin Jacobo. I'm just here today to show my my favor on this petition for this movement for Lavinia. I would just like to guys to share a little bit of what Lavinia has done for my life. A lot of people in here know me, and I've been a resident of Mundelein around 16 years approximately. Throughout my life here, I went to school here, I did my studies here, and throughout time I got involved in wrong things. I got involved in gang activities and using of drugs, selling of drugs. I got involved in a pretty bad crowd, and I felt hopeless. I felt like there was no hope for me. I felt like I made too many mistakes, and pretty much I'm here to support this movement because it's really changed my life. A lot of people probably could testify if they were here that how I used to be and how there was no hope for me really. I would just like to share this with you guys and let you guys know that Lavinia has really made a great impact in my life. Today, I'm a totally changed person, thanks to God, first of all, working through Lavinia, and now I'm clean from drugs. I'm not involved in gangs, and I take part in the leadership, in the youth leadership of this church. I really thank God because He has used me through the church to help other people, other youth who are going through the same things I was going through. I really hope that this little testimony that I shared this night is of impact to you guys, and it has some help towards you approving this movement, because I really think it didn't just benefit my life personally, but I think it's a great benefit for the community of Mundelein, where we could grow together into being a better community. Thank you.
thank you. Oh. Mr. Jacobo, what's your address, please? No, just tell us.
It's 26247 North Green Street in Mundelein.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Hi, my name is Sharon Duran, and first of all, I'd just like to thank everyone for being here tonight and giving us a chance to give our testimony as to why Lavinia is of great impact here in this community. I live in Beach Park, Illinois, and I travel 4 times a week to come to Mundelein. And I've recently even picked up a job in Mundelein to stay in this community because Lavinia has impacted my life that much. I used to go to the University of Illinois, and that's where I first met the vineyard movement. Upon graduation, I looked for another vineyard, And although there was many, there was nothing like Lavinia. From the first moment I stepped in that place, I saw the great impact that it's done to this community, especially the Latino community. As we all know, the Latino population is a growing community in the United States, and having organizations and churches is of great importance for our society. The Vineyard has given us a chance to not only be involved, but it's allowed us to learn sound doctrine. Omero Garcia, our pastor, is a PhD in theology, and I've taken many classes with him where I've learned how to read the Bible and study it in a more advanced way. I've also recently become a youth leader and an usher at the church, and I could just tell you that as a sociologist, I've never seen so many children and youth give their life to God the way that they have at the Vineyard Church. There's no doubt in my mind that this church is of great importance and is detrimental to the community of Mundelein. And I just ask that you open your hearts to seeing as to why it's of great importance. I've seen many gang members and many troubled teens who have done community service there give their life to Jesus, and their lives have been completely transformed. And like I said, as a sociologist, I just didn't think something like that was possible, but it's really opened my eyes. So thank you so much for hearing us out.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Edie Selso. I live at 33901 North Prospect Drive in Gage Lake. I'm a registered nurse. I'm home health nurse for Lake and McHenry County. I've been a volunteer at Lavinia Church for 20 years. My son was in an infancy when I first started helping at the church. Just graduated from NIU. So he's my milestone marker that tells me how much time has gone by. And I have 6 children, and I work full time. I do a lot of driving, and the reason I keep coming back to Lavinia Church is because I see the impact that it has on people's lives, especially the young people. And it's just so amazing to see how everything in this church is volunteer. Pastor Garcia does not have a secretary. He does not have a paid custodian. There's no paid staff. Whatever the church does, we do at cost, or we serve people without concern about whether they can afford to pay for things. Omero's wife, Claudia, runs a children's club at the church every Wednesday night. We provide kids with snacks. A lot of these kids haven't seen a parent that day. They depend on this children's group for adult interaction and for building up their self-esteem. And we've been meeting with countless kids. I think she has almost 100 kids in her program. We have a sport program that kids can come to play soccer, and they don't have to have any money to play. And if we don't have a uniform for them, we find a sponsor if they can't buy their uniform. We have free music lessons for kids and adults at the church. This church is not about making money. It's about rebuilding people's lives and helping people find a good identity and become participating citizens. And this country was founded on volunteerism. As you may know, almost every school and hospital that you will find was founded on volunteers. This church runs on volunteers, which is why I'm there, even though I'm busy. I make time to come to Lavinia Church. It's for people like Darwin. I meet with them on Thursday nights. I meet with a group where we mostly meet with community offenders. We meet with teenagers. We meet with alcoholics. I've been in Al-Anon. I can tell you that we have a better rate of changing people's lives. We use a lot of the same principles because Al-Anon was founded on Christian principles. But I believe in what this church is doing. I've seen the lives that it's changed, and I've been here for 20 years giving my time, and I will continue to do so. It's not about making money. It's about changing lives. We help people become better parents, better spouses. There are marriage classes. There are whatever it takes to help people rebuild their lives is what we're involved in. I've been giving out food for 20 years. I do volunteer nursing work with church members who need help. And I would like to just encourage you to support the ministry of this church, because I do believe we've been quietly in this community for a long time. We may not have had a flag to fly or a building to put our stuff in, but we've been here. We've been renting every kind of facility, and Pastor Romero has not really had any place permanent to work from. And I just think it would be wonderful if you would support this effort and keep us in your community. If I have permission, I have Darwin's testimony, if you would like a copy of it. It's just a handout with his testimony on it. If you want to keep a copy of it.
How many copies you have there?
I think I have one for everybody.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you for having me. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay. Very good. What's your name and address first, please?
My name is Daniel Marquedo, and I live with my family in Gurney. I work as a quality control inspector for a company that has, we have contract with the government in aerospace. I've been attending to Lavinia for 4 years, and maybe some of you have the thought, why we need another crazy, intolerant people around us? But I've seen the difference of Lavinia or the Vineyard movement towards the community, not only in transcendent thoughts and teachings, but in the value of serving the community and to serve one another. And when I was getting here into the building, I encountered these beautiful words: there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for another. And I've seen that in Lavinia. And our hope in Lavinia is that through these transcendent teachings and through serving the community and serving one another, our kids, not only Latinos, but our kids in general, can become better citizens for our country. Men who take responsibility for their families, men that stay and step up to the plate to become the men that our country needs, that our community needs. I've seen that in Lavinia. And kids that they come to the knowledge of their responsibility to serve one another and to serve the community. I've seen that in Darwin's life and many, many kids in these 4 years. So it's not only the spiritual teaching, but the awareness of you have to become a good citizen of the United States. And I've seen that in Lavinia, their teachings. And these beautiful words I've seen in our pastors and our leaders in our church. So basically, we are not another intolerant, nonsense people. We want to serve our country. We want to serve our community through everything that we do in Lavinia. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julio Nambo. I live at 3810 25th Avenue in Schiller Park. I'm 30 years old, and when I first started coming to Lavinia was when I was 16. I've lived in Mundelein actually most of my life except for the past 4 years. And when I was 16, I met Pastor Romero and started coming to Lavinia. I was also a father at that time. I had a beautiful baby boy that I was deathly afraid of, obviously, raising by myself and with my current girlfriend. As a sophomore during that time with a baby, it's basically impossible to finish, or so I thought, especially being Latino and being that low income, and maybe we didn't have a lot of help. If there was there's one word that you could describe me during that time, I think it would be rebellious. I got in trouble a lot, obviously, and it was just the way that I lived. I can tell you that only took a few months after coming to Lavinia and listening to the teachings and seeing the people change around me and them telling me how I could change because there's this man called Jesus that changes lives and that wants you to be better, a better citizen, a better person, a better father. Within months, my attitude changed. There was people that would tell me, "Who are you now?" I hung around with the wrong crowd before that. I left them. I completely became isolated from them, not because people told me to, but because I knew that there was a change that needed to be made in my life. And I never went back. I continued on. I think my life would have been like Darwin's, getting into trouble, getting into gangs, because most of my friends were in gangs during that time. I used to live in Whitehall. I don't know who knows Whitehall and how it used to be back then. That's where we grew up. That's where my family grew up. And I can tell you that now I've been a volunteer graphic designer for the church through many years, and the way that they've encouraged me to continue my studies. I've graduated, obviously, I graduated high school. I've gone into college. I'm currently I'll graduate from college next month because of people like Pastor Romero and people that I've met in this place and how they've actually showed me that there's another way, that you can contribute to your family, towards society, towards your country. And I just want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to share this. And there's a lot of other people right now that are in the same position that we are, that I was, young people with kids that don't really know where to go and how to make it out of there. And I can tell you that because of Lavinia, it is possible, and that's what we want to do with the resources and the different types of volunteer work that we're trying to provide, and that we're trying to do with your approval. We can impact a lot more people, and Mundelein is going to be known as a town where change is being made. I can tell you that because it was made in my family, it was made in my life, in my wife's life, and in her family, and just thank you for everything.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
My name is Steve Paredes. I live at 702 Longfellow Lane, Mundelein, Illinois. Thank you, folks, for us reaching this far. We just thank you for being here, and just ask that you vote favorably on Lavinia. My wife over there, my beautiful wife, I'm very much in love with. My son, who I'm very proud of. He tells me every single night that he loves me. Every day, actually, at least once. My daughter over here, who constantly reminds me to pray for her at night if I forget or if I'm too tired. She says, "Did you forget something?" She does that every single night if I do something. I'm just so tired. But that's I think most of that's just things that we learned from Lavinia. They're very focused on family. They're focused on the individuals. One night I went, the first Friday night that I went there, that was for the youth group, and I was just surprised how the teenagers and the youth group were there, willing to be there, happy to be there, and they were really enjoying themselves singing. And I went to the front to ask them to volunteer for something for Mundelein Days. But anyway, I just had to tell them that I'm just so proud of them because of for them wanting to be there and wanting to just to be together in a church setting. And I explained to them that when I was younger, I wasn't doing that. I actually had a similar life to Darwin's. I was in gangs and things like that. But I'm an adult now and very happy to be there at Mundelein. I volunteer as English translator because we have sometimes non-Spanish speaking individuals there, and I translate the sermons. But I'm very happy that Lavinia is growing and is growing. There was a gentleman once that approached Romero Garcia, Pastor Romero, and was trying to thank him for what he's done, how the changes that were happening in his family, and the only things that were coming out were like squeaks, and he just couldn't get the words out. And actually, that was myself. I just couldn't. I was just so emotional just to thank him. But I'm just so grateful for Lavinia and the pastors, and the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
My name is Steven Paredes. That's my father right there. I live in Longfellow Lane, 702, Mundelein, Illinois. And what we do in the church, we do like classes for piano. We do classes for other type of instruments, like on Wednesdays and some other days for other types of activities like soccer and singing for the girls, and then like dancing in the front. So we practice, and then we do it one day for like a concert, and we keep on doing it. Like, so I'm doing piano in the class, and I never knew piano before, but now I do. Like, it's like $20, but if you don't miss a day, then it's free. You get your money back. So
It's a good deal.
that's what I was told. So yeah. So since I came to Lavinia, I have made a lot of friends, and then moved on to the class and made more friends, and then seeing those friends at other places, like at a museum, like recognize everybody, like they're everywhere. So I've been thinking about what is that building like, and the people said that it was going to be our new church, and I was getting excited. And last time I came here, I just knew about the church, so about the new church that we're getting, and like that thing's huge. Like Santa de Popolo, I thought that was bigger than that. Like, you're kidding. Our new church is going to be bigger. So, thank you for letting me come up here to speak. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Lopez. I live also in 3825 Schiller Park in Illinois. As you heard my husband, we were married young, and I think I would like to tell you that there is a lot of families out there. But first of all, I want to tell you about where I come from. I come from a family with lower values. There was some love, but not a love. There was never forgiveness. There were divorce, and I would tell you that it's not easy to be married. A lot of people, and if you would know, it's not easy to be married. But with the help of the Vineyard, I can see that every time that in my marriage, I can run to them. They can pray for my family. They can pray for my kids. And I never saw that. I've seen a lot of churches. I used to go to Santa Maria de Popolo. I was in their chorus. I loved everything. I would attend every day as much as I could. And I attended one time. I would go to the Santa Maria Popolo, and I would go to their church. But I had to make a decision where they would tell the truth. And I made the decision to attend the Vineyard 10 years ago, almost 11, because I know that I could, they would reach out to me 24/7. I had leaders that I could reach out at any time of my life. They were wonderful examples, but I would tell you that I come from a family that there was never forgiveness, like I said. There was always fights, and I could say that I could reach out to them, to my family. Now some of them are in Mexico, and I could reach out to them. And we're spreading the word. It's national. I could say it's national because if I make a call, we're spreading the word. It's not only, it's going out to Chile, it's going out to Colombia, it's going to it's going to Mexico. We sent out pastors up to over there to change the world, to change the Latinos. I could see that we're even reaching out single mothers, even though my mom was divorced, and I could see that there is a lot of families out there in Mundelein, and we have a passion to reach out those families, the single moms, the kids that don't even have a father, and a lot of families, because I come up from that. I live in Schiller Park, but I will come back as soon as possible next year because I want to reach out to those people. I don't care if I get paid, I don't care, and we have that passion to reach out to the kids, to the youth. I used to work with the youth, and now I'm a teacher at, I was a teacher at the Vineyard, and I could say that the kids love it, and the moms come, that we have classes for the mothers, we have classes for the fathers, we have like a class that you can imagine that they're there like the whole time. We don't miss a day that we don't want to be there. If we could live there, you know. And I just want to say thank you for your time. I encourage you to approve this because you won't believe how it's gonna grow. Even if you guys don't give us the building, we will make it work because we don't need a building. We have it in our hearts, and we're gonna spread it out. We've been doing it, and we will do it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Hi, my name is Maria Paredes, and I live in 702 Longfellow Lane, Mundelein. I would like to tell you that it's been 7 years now living in Mundelein. Before, we lived in Naperville. And from Naperville, we learned of a church called Harvest Bible, and we loved that church. And we started assisting there for 4 years while we lived in Mundelein. We were pretty much invisible in there. We will go in and we will come out the same. Our life as a family was not like our lives right now. Our lives right now, once we were introduced to Lavinia, has changed drastically. And what I'm talking about is the life I have with my husband, what I learned, when I started assisting to Lavinia, I took classes that Pastor Romero was giving for free about how to be the wife that I wasn't, pretty much, the mother that I wasn't, and pretty much my family has drastically changed. I started working from home as a DCFS provider, childcare. So while I was taking those classes, I know God was transforming my life. I was able to take care of those little kids that were coming from troubled homes. I was pretty much transferring my learning experience to those new families that I was learning. And one family came to my house from domestic violence, and right now she's coming to Lavinia. It's been the same years I have as a DCFS provider, and her life has changed. Her little kids are coming, are learning new things, are coming to the ministries. One of them is probably 13 years old right now, and the little one is 6. When I saw her when she was 15 months old, and the mom told me, I have to warn you. She has seen how my husband treated me. She has seen how my husband got my face purple one day. So I have to warn you, they sing horrible things. So I'm just telling you that when I came to this church, I learned great things about God, about the love that God has for each one of us, all of us. And right now I'm giving the same to everybody that steps in my house as a DCFS provider. Right now I have a family that the mom abused one of the little kids, and I have a program with DCFS where I'm taking kids that need help immediately because one of the mom or dad has been separated from them. What am I gonna do with them? I'm gonna transfer every single learning that I have from this church. I'm very thankful I'm very thankful to God because of bringing me to this pretty much town, Mundelein. And right now, all I want is this church to be bigger because I want people to be transformed, families like we have. I want little kids like that 15-month-old little girl to become a woman that goes to school, that one day can say also, thank you God, because you did this to me. You brought me to this church and you transformed my life. I'm sorry because I'm nervous and I can feel my heart beating too fast. But I ask you to take all this in consideration. If I would have not come to this church, I would have probably seen another family, another kid to watch. And right now I see how God is gonna move and change their life, because He might use me and everybody else who goes to this church with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Hi, my name is Vincent Carduno, Wildwood, Illinois. Thank you for this time. I know there's a few of you I've seen from the last committee. Thank you for letting me share again. I was raised in Des Plaines pretty much. I'll try not to repeat the same thing I repeated last time for the other guys. Raised in Des Plaines, I was married, went to Western Illinois University, graduated, got married, and me and my wife finally looked for a place to settle down in, and most people will look for that career place or where family's at, and pretty much we chose Mundelein, and it was all because of the vineyard. We had heard about it, we visited, and we made that choice to come live here, and we were actually living in Mundelein for a couple of years, just purchased a home in Wildwood. But I just wanted to share that, just a little story. I don't see the officer here from Mundelein. I don't know if it's Officer Wood, but there's a youth party at one of the apartments. I think this is a cool story, and they had responded to a party that was going on, and there was heavy drink and all this stuff. It wasn't our party, but it was near where we were. And as they were leaving, they could hear there's a big group in one of the apartments. So they knocked. Door was open. Hey, hello, come on in. A bunch of 18, 19, early 20s youth were there, and they were surprised of how much joy and how happy everybody was. And as they looked around, they didn't smell smoke, they didn't see liquor, and I wish I remember the exact statement that was made, but it was like, no alcohol and this much fun, and it was pretty cool. They thought it was pretty cool. I don't know if it was Officer Wood. Yeah, Officer Wood. But anyways, that's what's happening with the youth. I was in the Marine Corps. I got EAS in 2003. We have values in the Marine Corps that I'm seeing in this church. We have two that are going to the Marine Corps, which I'm proud of. One that's leaving this summer. One's in basic training in Army National Guard. And I'm glad Daniel mentioned that plaque that's up top. No greater love than to give your life for another. And that's about sacrifice and what our youth are learning and what the Vineyard is teaching, and that's really impacted me. And the reason I want to say is that it's really serving your community. Some are going to serve the country, but a lot are staying here. And I just hope and I pray that you'll just be a part of what's going to happen in the future with this building. And I know a lot of it's in your hands. And I mentioned earlier in the last committee, we're taught here to serve our community, so we're here to serve you. I'll repeat it again, we're here to serve you, and just like you are here to serve us. So thank you for this time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We'll close the floor for public commentary. Next on the agenda is the time where we do presentations and awards. And tonight, I want to give a Distinguished Service Award to Megan Spina for her service on the Planning and Zoning Commission. It reads, Village of Mundelein Distinguished Service Award presented to Megan Spina for 6 years of dedicated service to the Planning and Zoning Commission 2007-2013. The Planning and Zoning Commission does a great service to all of us by really receiving petitions for planning and zoning variances and questions like that, and they really do a great job of getting more information available to the board and kind of just enabling the process to move quickly with the most information so we can make the best decisions. Megan? There we go. Go ahead and come on up here. Give her a round of applause. Next on the agenda is the time for public hearings. There are none this evening, which takes us to the mayor's report. And before I get to the first item on my report, I just wanted to mention the Community Day celebration and just how well it went, and just give my congratulations to all the folks on the team that really pulled that off. Public safety chiefs, what a great job everyone did. The public works folks, just fantastic. They have a system down, but I really wanted to recognize, and you can't just pick out typically one person on the team, but I'm going to, because Mike Flynn here is, Mundelein High School has a Mr. Mundelein competition, and I've always referred to myself, Mike Flynn is Mr. Mundelein to me. He has about every detail of everything that goes on Mundelein Community Days. It's right in his head, and when you run into him, if he's not carrying something, running over and doing an errand, he's just basically keeping track of everything that goes on, and he's done a great job for so many years. This year, I think there were a couple nights we had record crowds. I think Thursday it was just fantastic, and the weather helped obviously, but what a great job. And can we just give Mike Flynn a round of applause?
After 25 years, I finally got the weather to cooperate.
All right, so first on my report, we have commission and board appointments. It's Exhibit 2 there. Under the Economic Development Commission, a reappointment of Robert Swanson and a new appointment of Kirsten Russell. Mundelein Community Days, reappointment of Bill Rikas, Margaret Resnick, Phil Seimbold. Police and Fire Commission, reappointment of Jeffrey Hill. And then Police Pension Board, Louis Adler, a reappointment. So I would, now, well, let's see here. First I need, I'm switching over to because you have to go to the actual memorandum. It says I need a motion to approve the mayor's commission appointments as indicated on the agenda.
So we approve them completely, all together. So I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Motion by Voss, second by, which one? Abernathy, okay. Get the stereo thing going, okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, don't we also have an opening on the Plan Commission Zoning Commission?
There are other openings, and those will be addressed in the ensuing weeks. Yeah.
Do we want to recognize the people that are here?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's see. Just looking out there. Is Bob Swanson here? Okay. Kirsten, I know you are. You raise your hand. There we go. Is Bill Rikas? I didn't see him. Margaret? No, she has a board meeting, I think. Phil Seimel, okay. Jeff Hill? There he is. Okay. Very good. Louis Adler? All right. Okay, so, Bert, can you please call the roll?
Voss.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Motion approved. Now, we have Kirsten. Do we have to?
Swear me.
Sure. Mr. Russell, you want to come on up here? Yeah.
if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kirsten Russell,
I, Kirsten Russell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Economic Development Commissioner
of the Office of Economic Development Commissioner
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you. Sign it, Rachel.
Very good, thank you. Next, under other reports, several items. The first one has 4 motions under it. Exhibit 3, SBA Petroleum Inc. Special Use Permit and Variation. I need a motion, please, to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes and findings of fact.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Semple. Discussion?
Is there anyone here from SBA Petroleum?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Abdul Bassett. I represent SBA Petroleum. We have a BP gas station with AM/PM branded food. The AM/PM branded food has kind of pulled out that brand name from the Chicago market. We are working to have a Dunkin' Donut there with a drive-through. And so we request for a special use to give us a drive-through and our variance for a single exit lane because of a limited space at the property.
Okay. I just wanted to know if they were here. If
Okay.
anybody had questions.
No, thank you. Any questions for the, no?
Yeah, please.
Okay, there you go, Mr. Trustee Sullivan.
If I might ask the gentleman. The space that's being vacated will be identical to the space that Dunkin' Donuts will use inside your store?
There isn't any structural change. It's going to be maybe some of the shelves and mandalas they may replace.
So you'll have walk-in service from Dunkin' Donuts as well as the drive-up? Okay. In regard to the drive-up, the site plan shows a 9 or 10 car stack to get to the drive-up window. Is this any concern to you that if you have some obstruction of that line, like a stalled vehicle, that there's really no way of getting out of it?
You know, most of the business in Mundelein have a single lane, like the Burger King and Taco Bell, very close to us. And they run these operations and a single lane.
There is a Dunkin' Donuts in Mundelein, and of course they have about a 3 or 4 car stack. I don't believe that they allow it on the.
I can add something to that. I'm Brad Hensley with Landmark Engineering. We're the civil engineers that did the plan. The ordinance actually called for us to show 5 or more vehicles stacking. Even though we don't have this bailout lane, we still ask for that in the presentation plan. So it's, I don't know, I'm sure you've been to a Dunkin' Donuts before. Sometimes there's 5, sometimes there's 2. And if the car breaks down, I've never seen it happen, but I'm sure it must.
No, it would be rare.
Yeah, I mean, we just have this long route to get there based on the geometry of the site. So, and the vehicles are simply shown at the request of the owner.
The property to your west, as I am thinking of it, is not buildable even if you could acquire it?
Yes, floodplain.
Are you right, is your easterly property line, now you have more than 2 acres here. your easterly property line though is right at base flood elevation? Do you have any idea what your flood map looks like?
Yeah, we do. We actually did an exhibit, which probably is in your packets, showing the floodplain as it lays out. We haven't done the topography yet because we're still in the beginning stages to get through or get approval for the concept.
Okay.
I have an exhibit in the back if you'd like to see it. It does show the floodplain. We have a small amount of
Well,
floodplain.
I've got that. There's
That's
some,
it, yeah.
there's some topographical, I think they're topographical lines on it, but no, that's right. Well, as the staff report says that the drive up without a bailout lane is acceptable because it's an inconvenience, or if it is a problem, it's going to be an inconvenience. Yeah, it could be a serious inconvenience in regard to not just a disabled vehicle, but a disabled person in one of the vehicles. But I guess that's an acceptable risk. That's a long drive-up lane, and Dunkin' Donuts is pretty popular at some times of days.
That's what he's hoping.
And if there's more than one or two cars there, I'd get out and go in. You know, so that's an option. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, if I just could briefly, that entrance that you have on 45, that is accessible both eastbound and westbound, so people can turn left into it?
I believe so. And it's certainly wide enough for, full access. I don't know that street well enough to know if there's a median there to block anything from coming left.
No, there's no median.
So, yeah, it's a full access then.
All right, so both the upper 45 and the lower 45 are both
Yes.
ingress and egress. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, the second of four motions coming up. Motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Semple. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance granting a special use permit pursuant to section 20.32.020, referencing section 20.48.030I of the Mundelein Municipal Code to allow a drive-through facility for SBA Petroleum Inc. at 700 East Highway 45 with a condition that the operator must work with the police department on implementing security measures.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Semple. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Motion carries. Finally, a motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance granting a variation to section 20.48.030I7 of the Mundelein Municipal Code to waive the requirement of a bailout lane for SBA Petroleum Inc. at 700 East Highway 45.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Kim. Discussion?
Yes, if I could, because we all know that I don't generally grant variances. In this case, I do actually believe that the topography is the justification of hardship. That's why I'll be voting for it.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. All right. Good luck to you guys, all right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have subject of Commercial Plastics Company height variation exhibit 4 in your packet. First, a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes and findings of fact.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Semple. Discussion?
Again, are the people from commercial
The
plastics?
petitioners present?
Yes.
Okay. Come on up and just state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Samuel Fendel, and I'm the general manager for commercial plastics, and I live in Lindenhurst, Illinois.
Very good, thank you. Any questions?
I'm so glad that you're expanding and you need another silo.
It's a simple matter. Our business is growing, and we just need to facilitate more materials to keep up with the demand we have.
Okay.
That's a wonderful problem to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We're one of the few companies actually growing it right now. We blessed some of the work, we were awarded to some Weber Grill, which brought some work from overseas, from China back in this country to manufacture over here. So it still happens, believe it or not.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, a motion to accept Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Meyer. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Motion carries. Finally, a motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance granting a variation to section 20.40.030 of the Mundelein Municipal Code to allow a height increase from 35 feet to 56 feet for silos in the M-1 General Manufacturing District for Commercial Plastics Company, 800 East Allenson Road.
So moved.
Motion by Meyer, second, or did I get a second? By
Second.
Voss. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Meyer.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Very good, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, the subject is Legends Hand Car Wash Special Use Permit for Car Wash Exhibit 5 in your packets. There's 3 motions here. First, a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes and findings of fact.
A motion?
Motion by Kim,
Second.
second by Meyer. Discussion?
Again, are the...
Are the petitioners present? Okay. Just one person, yeah, just say your name and address, just.
Rick Dugo, 1660 Verde Court, Mundelein, Illinois.
Very good. Any questions for the,
I actually
folks?
have a couple. I'm just having a little trouble getting to that page. I'm just a little bit curious in your plan here. You talk about the ability to stack cars on this property. And I'm just wondering if you did that at the request of staff, that you show that you think that you have room to stack 5 or 6 cars. Because I'm just thinking if I had to wait 10 or 15 minutes to get my car washed, if there were 5 cars in front of me, I'm waiting an hour or more, I'm probably not staying in line, right?
Generally true, which would mean that the people that are worried about the car stacking too far, I could promise that if somebody saw the way that we're gonna, because we're actually gonna draw lines in the lot and have a person out there to direct it if the line was ever that big. What's happened at our other car washes is when you do a 12 to 15 minute wash door to door, the line seems to continuously move. And when you get caught in a line that's stagnant, usually you leave. Where if you get caught in a line that seems to be moving, you'll stay, because you see it's moving and you see you're going along. And we think that we do an incredible job for such a reasonable price. We're one of the only hand car washes that would be around, especially at that price. And at that time, we guarantee 12 to 15 minutes door to door once you leave your car. So again, we've tried it, and we've gone in that lot to stack to see if it would stack. Understandably, if somebody pulled in and saw 5 cars, it might be like, hey, it's 5 cars, I'm not waiting. But the line continuously moves because it's like a conveyor of people that washes the car. So though it's 15 minutes, that car's moving in that 15 minutes.
So do people have the ability to like make an appointment? I see that you're stacking, can I come back in 2 hours and will you take me then?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, better than that. If I ever saw anybody pulling out a line, I would run out and say, here, please come back later. Because we do an early bird special Monday through Thursday. That's a much cheaper wash in the morning. And I would run out and just give them that card and say, come back anytime to get the special. Sorry that you had to wait in this line. I would always want the customer back. I would never want to lose them.
Okay.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Very good. Next, a motion to accept Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendations.
Moved.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Kim. Any discussion? Okay, I have just a couple questions. On the assembly line, the first station, how long does the first station take generally? So if someone were to go by, see some cars, just for everyone's information, they could kind of gauge, okay, the first station takes X number of seconds or minutes.
I'm
and
gonna go out of a 15-minute window, and I would say I would be pretty close at this from seeing it. I would say it's 6 minutes when you first pull in. You're about 6 minutes at the first station, and 6 minutes at the last. The 3 minutes would be in the middle.
Okay.
The middle is the quickest station. It's kind of a swipe of getting the water off, where the beginning washes at the end does the final. The middle's the quickest.
So if someone drives by and they see a few cars, they can guess that maybe each of those cars would take 5 to 6 minutes
to move
each. And then if you get in line, you're looking at 5 to 6 minutes times however many cars you're behind.
Sure.
Something like that.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
In the winter, what are you gonna?
It would be the same. Seemingly, the car would be dirtier, but it's amazing in a hand car wash, the way that it's washed and the way that we teach and show them to wash a car is the same no matter what. So if the car is wet first, as a real quick, the way it's done is first a person gets in the car to do the dashboard and inside windows immediately. Then the car is on each side. There's a person that gets washed off with water first, so it's always pre-soaked. Then it gets washed, then it gets rinsed, then it gets moved. So no matter how dirty or not dirty that car is, that happens the same way each time. And because it's being done by hand, the dirt comes off on first swipe no matter what.
Okay.
Are you recycling any of that? How much?
It's actually, you don't use that much water. There's no recycling. Like I said, you turn the water on, you rinse the car, you turn the water off, then it gets washed. Then you turn the water on and rinse the car, then you turn the water off. That's the only spot water is used. Second and third base, which we call it, which are the next two spots that the car goes to, is all just drying or vacuuming or outside work.
Okay.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries. Finally, a motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance granting a special use permit to allow a car wash facility at 611 South Lake Street.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Meyer. No, Abernathy? Okay. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
I might just say, I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Dugal for making we hope, a silk purse out of a sow's ear of a corner.
Yeah.
If you looked at the plans that they have, there are going to be some very nice improvements to the building, to the landscaping, to the parking lot. And not only that, but these folks are Mundelein residents, sort of my neighbors just down the street.
Yes.
So we wish you every success.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for confidence in starting a business
Thank
here.
you.
You bet.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Abernethy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Good luck to you. Next, the Police Statute Planning Committee, Exhibit number 6. This is a motion to pass an ordinance establishing the Village of Mundelein Police Statute Planning Committee.
So moved.
Motion by Semple.
Second.
Second by Abernathy. Discussion. Clerk, please call the roll.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is exhibits.
Excuse me 1 minute.
Okay.
I discussed with Mr. Marino if there was, if the board would like to act on the appointment of chair for the committee. The ordinance that was just passed in section 4 indicates that the mayor, with the consent of the board of trustees, shall appoint a chairman of the police statute committee. And I know that Mr. Forshaw was here last meeting or meeting before last. And I know that he was unable to make it tonight. He's out of town. I had talked to Mr. Forshaw about that, and so if you wanted to, you could do that tonight or do that at the next meeting.
So I can go ahead and just nominate Jack Forshaw to be chairman of that, and then someone makes that motion and seconds it. Okay. Well, I would need a motion to make Jack Forshaw the chairman of the, let me get the name right, of the Police Statute Planning Committee.
I would make that motion. I'll
Motion by
second
Voss,
it.
second by Abernathy. Discussion? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Okay. A good catch. Okay. All right. Taking to Exhibit 7. This will be the last item on my report. We have 3 motions regarding Comunidad Cristiana Lavinia Special Use Permit. First, I need a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes and findings of fact.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kim.
Second.
Second by Voss. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, a motion to accept the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendations.
A motion.
Motion by Kim,
Second.
second by Meyer. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Motion carries. Finally, a motion to authorize staff to draft an ordinance granting a special use permit allowing a place of worship at 444 East Cortlandt Street.
So moved.
Motion by Semple,
Second.
second by Kim. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I have some questions. Is the petitioner here this evening?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Mark Sargis, attorney for the petitioner.
2 questions.
Yes, sir.
Currently, there's a storage, self-storage unit on the property.
Yes.
Are you willing to remove that within a designated timeline?
Yeah, actually, if I could briefly address that,
Go ahead.
it's in the packet, but that area is part of the area that the church identified for future parking expansion as part of an approved site plan by the commission for land bank parking. So that area necessarily had to be designated for decommissioning. And so what we proposed was in the nature of something that the village had recorded for another property recently, a declaration, a covenant. That's, I think, a draft that we tendered in the draft that says basically that we're committing to use that property for expansion of parking per the site plan approved by the commission, and that consequently that self-storage would have to be removed within a year of I think it's within a year of either approval or the start of occupancy. I forget which.
And then, of course, the land from there to the west is where, as we just had this past week in our community days, are you committed to keeping that open and accessible to the public, like for the use of the village by community
Absolutely,
long-term?
absolutely. I think, in fact, the church in the past has participated in your Mundelein days and looks forward to being a part of the activities near the downtown area, because I think the type of people that are drawn to Lavinia are also the type of people that you want also participating and helping in the community. And I think much of that land anyway is not really able to be developed very easily because of just the topography and all that. So there's no plans to make it anything except green space, except for for decommissioning the self-storage area. So anything that's green out there is going to stay green and can be used for outdoor activities, and certainly in participation and partnership with the village for public activities like that.
Terrific, thank you.
Abernathy.
I have a question regarding your site improvement schedule. In phase 1, you're saying the exterior paint and siding repairs, primarily the south side. You also have the same exact thing in phase 2. So I'm kind of confused. Are we doing it in phase 1 or phase 2?
I think it's intended for phase 1. I think if I can.
Sure. Sure. See here.
Oh, I believe that, oh, I see. I think that for phase 2 it went, I think it went primarily on the north or east side because of
The fact that the south and west sides will be the entry point for the church and for the focus of phase 1 development. And
you're having a new entrance on the west side.
right, so the west and the existing south entrance are the primary entrances to the church. So that phase 1 reference to south side is probably correct. The phase 2 reference, where it also says south side, is probably incorrect. I think it means the north north side and probably east side of the building.
So the first section is going to be north and east side?
No, first would be, I think first is
south side.
South side and obviously west side, because there's going to be a new entrance point there.
So you're putting a gate in at the south end of the parking lot?
The southeast end, correct, of the parking lot.
Kind of gate, like a...
Well, there's a fence there already, and so there will be a gate that is able to be locked for most days except for Sunday morning, when traffic can come in from the southern parking areas into the large lot if they can't find parking along the south. And then once the service starts, then that'll be secured so that people can't exit to the south.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll drive all the traffic to the north on Crystal.
Okay, and this is a really large facility. So, and I understand doing it in piecemeal and doing repairs in piecemeal, but how are you going to block off the building so that areas that aren't being repaired aren't used?
Yeah.
Kids are kids.
Right. No, without taking a tour of the building, visually, it'd be hard to answer, but I think that, I guess as with any construction project, there'll be barriers put in place.
Okay.
Because I think they realize that to have occupancy, you have to have certain things done, like, if it's gonna be assembly space, the sprinkler system has to work, all those things have to work. And so, I think for a construction schedule, and I'm not the architect or the contractor, but I think that'll be, and I think we talked about it in one of the hearings, that space would need to be secured off and will be secured off. And obviously the building departments and fire departments will have to, say okay to whatever happens inside, so.
Okay.
Trustee Voss.
Along those same lines, so as I'm looking at some of these phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 programs, you have roof repair in phase 1, you have roof repair in phase 2, additional roof repair in phase 3. So I'm assuming that your original roof repair will be to replace over the sanctuary so that part can be used and you'll go along as you go along?
Well, primarily, although I wouldn't say it's strictly in terms of geography of the roof, because I think as the current attendants of the property, the lenders primarily have had to do some roof repairs. They've been holding the property for quite a while now. And they've done some roof repairs, and then later they've done some more roof repairs of a different nature. So I think the point is that there's some immediate roof repairs that need to be done, especially now, and that probably by phase 2 or 3, there will be some replacement of roof, not just patching and repairs. And it's hard to tell exactly when that will have to take place, but so some of it is the space on the west side, west 2/3 of the building will be focused on, because that's where the initial occupancy will take place, and then move towards the east. But certainly the building structure has to be repaired enough to keep it from being deteriorated. At some point, the roof will have to be replaced, like with any roof, and so that's not going to happen in phase 1. But God willing, then that will happen as needed, possibly phase 2, but certainly by phase 3. So.
Okay. Also, in your phase 1 budget is repair or replacement of 10% of sprinkler heads. How'd you come up with that number, 10%?
Oh, I think that actually came from our meeting back in January with all the department heads, and 10% of testing of sprinkler heads is, I guess, a standard sampling of the system to see, if the heads are good, you have to sample a certain number, and I think we budgeted that probably 10%, given the age of the system, will have to be replaced, but that could go higher or lower once the system is tested. So there'll be an initial test by a fire system testing company to sample a representative number of the heads, and then depending on that result, then we're budgeting to have to replace, I think, 10% of the heads.
And you recognize that if the testing shows, you might have to replace more.
Oh, of course, yeah. In fact, just yeah. I mean, that's there's certain aspects of the deal that I think, like with any building, before the buyer buys it, it's caveat emptor, and you have to check the building conditions. And there's a few last steps to do that before the church actually, puts down its down payment and takes the loan out and all that. So we have done enough looking at the building to think that we don't anticipate a major problem with that, but it'll certainly be calculated in, and they're going to finish looking. In fact, even this week, there'll be someone coming back in the building to look at the current conditions, to try to count the cost before proceeding. So.
Okay. Similarly, in phase 2, you have HVAC, preliminary work for sanctuary and Sunday school areas. I would really think that HVAC would be phase 1.
Well, there's an HVAC component, I think, in phase 1 to analyze, basically the specifications for what will be installed ultimately, and some preliminary work. The big budget work for a new HVAC system is put in the phase 2 column, because that's a fairly expensive item, and so in other words, for the first phase, there's not a requirement that there be central air in the sanctuary space, but there'll be the preparations, and then just as a practical matter, I think the larger cost of that was put in the phase 2 budgeting.
Yeah. So when you have that many people, how do you anticipate cooling and heating if you don't have a working HVAC?
Well, I think, again, I'm not the contractor, but I know that there's many older churches that don't have air conditioning, and that's something that can get retrofitted, I think, over time. But not every church has air conditioning.
You need to have a way of, you need to have heat, and you need to have a way of circulating air, right?
Oh, right. No, I think there's a difference between the air conditioning units that we're talking about for phase 2 and heating of the building. Those are separate mechanical functions. There will be heating of the building, and that's the way it is now. And I don't know, Pastor's he's met with the architect and contractor more than I have, so I don't know if that's come up in more detail in his conversations. We don't have the architect here, but the heating of the building, that's not the question. That's going to be there from day one. It's the question of whether a new air conditioning system needs to be put in and when that will be installed.
So really we don't require air conditioning or maintaining temperature and basic connections together or circulation of air?
Only for heat.
Oh,
If I may say something, the building has these heaters that hang from the ceiling, and those help. Those are going to help for the initial days. So those can help keep it warm for the building.
Okay. There are several stipulations, I think, that were put on, and you are understanding all of them, right?
Right. We looked at that. The commission made, I think, a slight change or two at the final meeting for that, and we certainly understand the village's concerns that this is, not a space. It is a large space, and it shouldn't be contemplated that the church can just start renting it out to all sorts of organizations. Anything that happens in the building will be church-sponsored, church-operated, and it just so happens that, I think as the staff pointed out, that Lavinia is fairly unique in a way because there is so much activity. So it's maybe more than your normal church, but and I'm not going to try to argue why that's a good thing. I think it should be obvious, but there are a lot of activities that aren't the worship service itself. So there's going to be all sorts of things along the lines of working with Mundelein days or soccer teams that play outside or Bible studies and other social activities. It's just a question of how many activities a church has, and this church happens to be very active. So I think that's just part of the growth of the church and the number of activities it has.
Lastly, just a statement, which is you have a nice turnout from your church members, parishioners tonight, and at Plan Commission meetings you've had that as well. And I would like to encourage you and them to continue to attend our meetings and to get involved in our commissions and groups that are part of Mundelein to make sure that your constituency is represented through us, that we would like to see more of you.
If I may say one other thing, because of questions about phasing of construction and all that. In our planning process for the budgets and numbers and all that, none of that has been relying on what the pastor has told us about his congregation, that there are many tradesmen and contractor type people that are willing, able, and ready to help with the practical work in the church to get it ready. Our budget numbers don't count on a lot of free donated labor, but as a practical matter, just as you see these folks here, they're going to be ready, willing, and able to offer their services and hopefully work hand in hand either with the contractor or for finishing certain aspects of the space, things like that. So that's part of the sweat equity in addition to the monetary contributions of parishioners to this project. So thank you for your consideration.
Anyone else? Trustee Sullivan.
I'd like to thank all of your members for their attention to this issue. Certainly, Lavinia is a huge asset to Mundelein as a community of worship, social interaction, and education. We've proven that, and I think this new facility will make you even a greater asset to Mundelein. That said, I have a couple of questions, and I'll direct the first one. I'll direct the first one to the village attorney. This is in our TIF zone, and as owned by a church, if they purchase this, it will no longer yield a real estate tax extension. Being in the TIF zone, how will this affect the base assessed value in the TIF as a total? For instance, if the total, and when the TIF was initiated, was $100 million, and the property purchased by Lavinia is $1 million, will this base TIF assessed value go down $1 million, or will it remain at the original amount? Okay. You see,
I would say, someone is
right.
ask that question.
Right. If it goes down, that means improvements have to be made in order to get it back up to the original base. Okay, that's a concern. The second, of course, we understand there's not going to be any real estate tax. I don't know what the yield is now. Probably at least $10,000, but not a lot compared to the total of the village. The second question I have, and I can direct that to the pastor and to you, Mr. Sargis. During the Plan Commission hearings, it was mentioned that the church was aware of the huge redevelopment project that the village has initiated to the north. And I think you may well have seen some of the site plans that show an access to Cortlandt Street, that is your street, from the north through what was the U.S. Music property. And I know that you indicated that you would be very willing to cooperate with the village in regard to achieving some type of access or some type of municipal use in order to fulfill the plans that we have there. Is there a possibility that you would be willing to grant an easement for a roadway on the eastern portion of your property?
I understand what you're saying. Actually, one of the staff comments from, I think it was from the engineering department, was to see if the petitioner would be willing to work with the village to use that eastern third of the property, which doesn't have structure on it, for some type of stormwater facility. Now that's a different issue, but I think it ties in with the same idea that eastern third of the property is undeveloped area. It's a wooded area. The church doesn't have plans to start cutting trees down and putting buildings there. It's probably difficult to develop anyway because of the topography. And we're aware of the transit-oriented plan that was, I think, put in place almost 10 years ago now. And obviously certain aspects get progressed faster than others, but and I remember seeing the design in one of the figures there for the extension of Chicago Avenue north from Cortlandt up to Hawley ultimately, and something that would benefit the train station access and a lot of other things. Frankly, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think that, and I've talked to the village administrator just about some of those ideas and also to some of the staff. And obviously, it takes some planning and funding and work, but the church would have absolutely no objection to whatever the proper form, whether it's an easement or acquisition of a portion of the land or whatever made sense for the village to use that for a public benefit. I think so. I think that absolutely, and it's wide open depending on how the village wants to approach that at either now or later.
Well, that's good to hear, and the pastor is in agreement with that, evidently.
Yeah, we're open to talk about this and to cooperate with the city of Mundelein, yes, of course.
Would be a very expensive roadway to build because it would have to be bridged over the creek and a lot of wetlands.
And I think, yeah, that eastern part, I think engineering said it's probably gonna take some, good amount of site work, on that eastern flank.
But it would not only be a good improvement to the downtown redevelopment effort, but it would be an improvement to the Lavinia property as well.
The first comment you had, I know, is relating to TIF, so I'm not gonna speak to it directly, but I would like to just offer a comment on that. I know the village spent a lot of time and effort to do a overhaul of its zoning ordinance and to have a series of sub-districts in the village center. And this is one of the 5 sub-districts in the village center. It's the one sub-district that's intended as, really as a transition zone, buffer zone from the more intense village center to the residential neighborhoods. And right across the street, we do have the residential neighborhoods. So we're very aware of that. We've made site plan changes in the traffic flow and all that to try to accommodate those concerns. At the same time, the new code does have, in its allowed special uses, place of worship. So it's answering a different question, because I'm not fully familiar with your TIF and all that. But as a matter of land use planning, I think the village has answered the question of what this area should be other than industrial, because it had been manufacturing and it's been redesignated for this, this village center transitional use. And being a special use that's listed, it's, I guess, by law makes it a presumptively compatible with surrounding uses in this district. And of course, we still have to show the exact plans and all that.
Well, yeah, I don't think any of the board has any discomfort in regard to the use of the land. And my guess is that assessed value, you will still have an assessed value.
Yeah,
and that will remain part of the base for the TIF.
Yeah.
But then again,
yeah,
Mr. Moreno
exemptions
is concerned about the answer to the question. I certainly can't begin
and I don't know the full answer at this point, but just like with the village center, a governmental use is not, and a church use are not automatically exempt. You still have to apply.
No, it depends how you use it, but the way you describe using it, you are going to be exempt. All right. Well, thank you very much. I wouldn't presume to hold you up for an easement at this point. I'm sure that would foul up all your negotiations with your lender. But it's good to know that Lavinia community is going to be a partner with Mundelein in making some progress.
I know your hands are.
And that's the spirit that I'm hearing.
I think you're.
And I hope to be here a long time. Thank you.
Your village hall plan is very ambitious, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the community and result in other good effects. And that roadway connection is more of a longer-term plan, but one no less potentially beneficial for the village. So.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Anyone else? Trustee Meyer.
No, I'm fully supportive of Lavinia. I think that you offer a lot of benefit to the community, you're doing great things. Your turnout is absolutely, fantastic, and I've heard nothing but positive things. My concerns come in with, the residents have been looking at our downtown plan for a very long time. Since 2004, we have been after the redevelopment plan, the TOD, comprehensive plan, all of those things, and as the gentleman said, changes being made, and we look at that as very positive. And some of the change that our residents have been waiting for is a successful downtown. And part of the success of the downtown is access. And so my concern comes in, we're bound on one side by a railroad track that prevents access to our downtown. We're off the beaten path. We're not on any large roads like Route 45 or anything. We're more than 2 blocks in. And so right now we have access on the north and we have access on the west. So you can't have access because the train on the east. So I am very concerned on the south side. And in all of the plans, it shows not just the one road, but the potential of many roads accessing Portland into that downtown. And in all of the plans, they really don't show any buildings there other than potential townhomes, developments, or some other things. So I am kind of concerned, you know, that the U.S. Music building has never been part of that long-term plan for that downtown redevelopment property. And so I do hold some concerns related to that, which has nothing to do with the church.
Right.
It has to do with the building, it has to do with traffic access. Fully support your church, love to see it in downtown, not right there.
Well, if I recall correctly, looking at the transit-oriented plan, there was one figure, I believe, I'm not sure there was more than that, but there was at least one figure I remember that showed a concept rendering of some homes or townhomes with some streets, you know, weaving in that area. But it didn't look to me that any of those streets in that concept were intended as a major thoroughfare like what you have with, you know, Seymour or the proposed extension of Chicago Avenue. So it was more streets in between those two roads that were to serve a concept plan for housing and not as a new main street through there. So that's my recollection from the figure. But
part of the master redevelopment plan that FAR did, I was part of that team, and they were looking at several conceptual plans. And granted, that's not phase one work, because the bulk of the work was phase one, but they did have some phase two ideas, and you know, down the road we'll be working more strongly on phase two. But some of the discussions and all of that in that phase work did have more connector streets than just the one that Sullivan was talking about to Portland. And I think that access to the downtown and the success of the downtown is really very important.
well, I would agree. I think that probably the biggest potential benefit would be to try to extend Chicago Avenue, because that seems to be that was one of the recommendations in that plan that stood out. You know, I guess I would maybe respond this way, that just as the village had, I think, looked at the new town hall area as one that it hoped to attract other developers and to make that happen. And you know, it didn't happen that way. The village had to take the initiative to make that site happen itself and do it in a way that it hopes that others will come and other uses will fill in. So you know, it would have been maybe nice to have some major developers take over that and do it themselves, but you know, plans sometimes need to change, and this property has been marketed for, you know, a couple of years now, and you know, whether that building is better you know, renovated versus, you know, torn down for who knows what, I can't answer that question. But I do know that the people, the professionals that have marketed this property for a long time now, just haven't gotten the traction that they had hoped. And maybe that's somewhat analogous to, you know, the village's plan to try to get traction on that other area, but had to take a different turn and take the initiative to make that happen. So in a sense, the church is taking the initiative to try to make something happen there that's going to be a lot better than the immediate foreseeable future of what the professionals have been unable to do.
And I fully support the church and its long-term growth, but I also support the vision that all of the planning that we've paid for and worked for and sweat for long-term have looked for, is I'm really holding out for that.
I understand.
Anyone else?
I just have a quick comment.
Trustee Kim.
Thank you. During all of the campaigning, I know that one of the platforms that the previous trustee Nachnig ran on was on public safety and the gangs. You know, and that's a concern of some of the residents. And this is a very positive example of people who are in gangs changing their life and turning it around. I think that addresses not only that, but there are kids who, say they want more to do in Mundelein, and they plan to have community events open to the public. And then there are the people who say we should do something about the empty buildings. So in some way, this is a rock that I wish there was other words than kill 3 birds, but it meets those needs. I do know you have a large congregation, so I would only hope that in the future, as if and when you do repairs, that you would hopefully buy your building materials in Mundelein, and that when your congregation goes out of service, that you would patron the places in our new downtown. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Semple.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Meyer.
No.
Abernathy.
Very good. Motion carries. Congratulations. Hard work pays off, doesn't it? All right. And congratulations. Good luck to you guys. All right. Next on the agenda, trustee reports. Public Works Committee Trustee Meyer. No, we don't have anything at this time.
That they were everywhere. Grounds were kept very nicely.
I agree.
Sleeping bag,
Okay, thank you, Trustee Meyer. Next, Finance Committee Trustee Sullivan.
Mr. Mayor, this evening we have one motion. That is a motion to approve the payment of bills to AT&T, invoices totaling $12,841.49, and I will make that motion.
Motion by
I need a
Sullivan.
Second?
Second by Voss. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Sullivan. Sullivan.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Abstain.
Motion carries.
This evening on the omnibus list of motions, we have one to approve a bill list totaling $962,155.39. Two of the major components of that list. One is bill from the Joint Action Water Agency for Lake Michigan Water, $201,815. The second to Commonwealth Edison for, I think, 3 invoices totaling $320,421.87. Unless anyone has a question regarding the bill list, other matters of financial concern, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Sullivan. Next on the list, Public Safety Committee Trustee Semple.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just have one motion on the agenda, and I'd like to make a motion to authorize the fire chief, who's also our emergency management coordinator, to sign the MOA with FEMA, designating the Village of Mundelein as a collaborative operating group and authorizing our use of the IPAWS platform for emergency networks, seen as Exhibit Public Safety-1 in your board packets this evening. And of course, our fire chief is able to answer any questions, or actually we'll have him give a real brief summary of what we're doing after the second.
Okay, we have a motion by Semple. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Abernathy. Any discussion, or do you want to give a summary there, Chief?
Yeah,
Just a
Chief, if
brief-
you could give.
A brief overview for the board, Mr. Mayor. This is basically in the cellular world interoperability. This came out of the President Bush administration in 2006 to create a integrated system of communicating. What this will give us is basically SMS messaging or text messaging across all platforms through our dispatch center and eventually the EOC. There's other components to this, but it allows us to get messaging out to cell phones that are in the area. So in the event that we had any major catastrophe like a train derailment or something along those lines, not only can we communicate with our residents, but really anybody within the general area of Mundelein would get that same message. That's what this tool does. So we have a little bit of work to do with the state and then with our software, and after that we'll be able to have this just another, as I described to Mr. Lebedo, a tool in the chest in the event we have anything that goes wrong.
Very good, thank you.
Terrific, Chief, thank you. While we're on with the fire department, oh, excuse me.
Yeah. Any discussion on that? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Semple.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes. Very good, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next item is a reminder of a meeting call. It's actually at 6:15 p.m.
I wondered about that.
Yeah, not at 6:45, as is on the meeting schedule attached to the agenda this evening. And after that, Chief Sashko, anything else for fire? Summary of your activities the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, just a brief summary. You know, this last week, jointly between police and fire, we were able to be escorts for our Mundelein Miss Pageant, and that was really a great event earlier in the week. We also had our blood drive on Saturday. One of our village residents, Doug Renz, won the coveted Dave Bolin hockey puck. What was nice was the fact that he also was an Alex donor, and I've talked about Alex, which is the double red blood cells. That's really a great donation. We ended up with 92 donations, and we think that we're probably going to be in the neighborhood of somewhere over about 110 once the donor center units come in. We had a little bit of a backlog, as the mayor knows, sitting here for a couple hours. It really got tense here for a while. It was so busy. So great drive there, and of course, just an outstanding turnout. And I saw, I think, every board member with the pancake breakfast yesterday, and we believe it's probably going to be a record in the 26 years that we've done the pancake breakfast. So it should be exciting to see what the numbers are going to be. So thank you for your support and your candidates.
And how'd the pancake breakfast go at the...
So I was just talking about when you were talking to Trustee Everett.
That's all right. She was
It
asking
was
me what's the
good.
meeting about.
It was delicious.
They were good. Some of you got blueberry cake.
Thank you.
They were very good.
Next item on the agenda for informational purposes, there's a consolidated dispatching staff report seen as Exhibit Public Safety -2 that Chief Gunther has put together. Chief Gunther, on behalf of the police department, any updates or summaries of this past week?
Well, first I'd ask if there was any questions regarding the documents.
I have a quick question, hopefully quick. In the case Wakanda accepts our proposal, is there enough time by next meeting, or is it, I remember that the last meeting, this was one of those quick ones that actually came afterwards.
Our timetable looks as if sometime prior to fall, we will need to have it one way or the other.
Okay.
They have some decision making to do first, so we have some time with that.
Okay.
We just needed to be in the discussions.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Other than that, I would say that over the weekend, for the volume of people that we had, the event went exceptionally well, and that's due to everybody's participation. Particularly, it was spoke by many that the 4th was probably the most populated that we've had ever, and things went very well, and the crowd was a good crowd. So it was a nice sign of the times. And the last thing I would say is Saturday is our fishing derby over at Maurice Knoll Park. So please attend if you have time. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all for public safety.
Okay, now I want to make sure we have that meeting call correct.
6:15.
6:15 on July 22nd.
July 22nd.
Okay.
Public safety. It's going to be dedicated to the fire chief, not dedicated, but led by the fire chief. We'll be covering a handful of topics.
Okay. Very good. Right. Thank you, Trustee Semple. Next, Community and Economic Development Committee, Trustee Voss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First thing is, Chief Gunther, fishing derby's at what time at Murray Snow Park?
8 a.m.
Thank you. As a reminder, this Wednesday is Park on Park. And I also want to thank the police department for giving a great escort to our pet parade on Saturday. As always, I like to have things other than dogs that show up. So this year we had a goat who walked very nicely on a leash. We also had a hermit crab and a gecko and a hamster, a very brave hamster, I might add, amongst all those dogs that participated in the pet parade. And while I'm on the subject of animals, today while I was shopping at one of our Mundelein stores, I saw a car that had 2 dogs in it. The windows were cracked, but folks, when it's 85 degrees out, you're going to be cooking your dogs if you leave them in your car. So please, leave your pets at home while you're shopping. I really appreciate that you want your pets with you, but it's really not safe. Please leave them at home. And that's all for me this evening.
Thank you, Trustee Voss. Next, Communication and Marketing Report, Trustee Kim.
I see a few comments here. Okay. At 6 o'clock, we had a meeting across the hallway, a presentation by BDI for Business Districts Incorporated. They were chosen out of 10 different applicants who wanted to work on the branding plan, and our selection committee did an excellent job doing all the legwork, putting it out there, and whittling through and choosing BDI, who also worked not only on Long Groves downtown, but in Andersonville and Chicago as well. They did a great presentation, and so I have a motion to adopt a resolution approving an agreement between the Village of Mundelein and Business Districts Incorporated regarding a municipal branding program.
Motion by Kim, second by Sullivan. Discussion. Trustee Abernathy.
Yes, I have a question. I was looking at this. Do we know a cost for this? I see we have an hourly rate, but do we have a cost? I didn't see. I saw travel expenses, photocopies.
There's a proposal.
Yeah, there's a budgeted amount, but I don't.
The cost on page 2 of the agreement.
Of the agreement.
$76,675.
Okay.
And that includes, I think, it's
reimbursable under travel.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That also includes the 6-month follow-up later afterwards.
And shall not exceed this amount.
By adopting the resolution, you adopt all those. Not to exceed amount.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? No? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan. Voss.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
That it? Okay. Very good. Next, Trustee Abernathy, Transportation and Infrastructure Committee report.
Okay, first, I would like to have a motion to accept all bids submitted for the street improvement project.
So moved. Motion by Abernathy, second by Sullivan. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Then I would also like to motion to award a contract to Campanella and Sons for the fiscal year and 2014 street improvement project.
Second.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Semple. Discussion?
I was wondering, have we dealt with them before?
They're everywhere.
I haven't seen a contract with the Village of Mundelein, but I've dealt with them in the past.
Okay. Thank you.
They worked on our water main replacement project many years ago.
On our what?
Water main replacement project.
Thank you. Okay.
Anyone else? Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And last, motion to authorize the mayor and the village clerk to execute a contract with Campanella and Sons, Inc. in the amount of $1,544,594.33, subject to the receipt of required bonding and insurance.
Second.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Semple. Discussion?
I have a
Yes,
question.
Trustee Kim.
Could you review to me what the budget for our streets is every year? Is it about 2 million even?
Yes, we have historically budgeted about $2 million, and that includes construction design and construction observation, or we call construction engineering, I guess. That's what we've, I think for the last 5 years, maybe a little bit longer.
And does this price include the engineering?
No, that's the next motion.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. That's the observation engineering, but the
Correct.
design engineering was already spent.
Correct.
And that was.
Okay.
Correct.
Part of this.
Yeah.
That isn't shown here tonight. Right, this is
Labor and
just
construction.
construction, but so when we budget that $2 million, part of it is the engineering costs, part of it is the construction, and part of it is the observation. So this part is only the
So with all three included, that would be the $2 million budget?
Right. Yeah, these are, you know, sometimes it's a little more than 2 million, sometimes it's a little bit less than 2 million. Just, you know, these are budget numbers, and then once you get the actual bids, you know, they can vary greatly, so.
So is part of this year's $2 million actually, are the streets down by Village Hall included on something separate?
No, we're anticipating doing Archer in next year's street program.
What about
And that's already designed.
the,
Chicago Avenue extension?
whatever is right in front of, yeah.
That's all, that's budgeted and 70% done. Just-
Okay. Separate from this?
Yes, yeah, that was.
And were some of the monies that we've spent this year on Holly?
That's part of the reason you see, the budget included funding allocated towards Holly Street.
Which we haven't, which we're not spending
Which
right
we
now.
haven't spent,
I'm
which
trying
is
to
why
get
you,
to
which is why you see this
lower.
lower than what you would typically see. We're better at estimating than what you would see here. So if we had a full 2 million to utilize towards the road program, this would have come in a lot closer to that $2 million mark. But we wanted to leave some funding available for the Holly Street project in terms of land acquisition and other things like that.
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, and I have a motion to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the preliminary construction engineering services agreement for motor fuel tax funds with Gawalt Hamilton Associates in the not-to-exceed amount of $99,437.
Second the motion.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Semple. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Voss.
Yes.
Very good, motion carries.
Okay, the other thing I would like to just inform people about, and I'm sure Mr. Boucher will help me with this, is they just got notice that CMAQ funding of the pedestrian overpass by the train station, we've received a recommendation from the project selection committee to be approved for federal funding. Of the $4.4 million project, approximate numbers now, 3.4 million would be federally funded if we are selected, which pretty good news, because from what it says, it didn't seem like we would get this approval, or this recommendation. We won't know until the fall for approval, correct?
That's correct. Probably even closer to the winter by the time it's all said and done. And all that.
Yeah, November-ish.
Yeah.
When we would maybe hear. So it would be, and then there's opportunities to get that other $1 million, so that would be good, kind of good.
That's big.
That's big, I think.
Trustee Meyer.
Would that mean that we get the design that was designed by FAR, the one that makes a statement instead of just a plain vanilla overpass?
Thanks.
Well,
That's something to be debated when we find out if we get the money.
Yeah, let's get the money first.
Well, we've looked at, if, just maybe as a reminder to everybody, there was funding for the design of the overpass put into the mitigation agreement with Canadian National a few years back. And some of that money we did what I would describe as phase one engineering to get us to a point where we understood what the project is, what's feasible, what's not feasible. We needed to get to that point to make application for the CMAQ grant. And as part of that exercise, well, let me back up a minute. And then phase two was pulled out of early on during the budget process. We were planning on doing phase two engineering, but we thought, well, let's wait a year until we see what's really going on with these grants, because we didn't expect it to come out this quickly. And we were wrong, it came out quickly, and so we might come back to the board, depending on the speed of things, and ask them to authorize us to go forward with phase two design engineering for this pedestrian overpass. So getting around to your question, the short answer is that plan concept that Doug Farr put together is has a lot of physical limitations because of the height that Canadian National required us to go, the height above the railroad tracks was so high that when you look at the grades that you have to keep to meet ADA requirements, you end up with very long ramps. And to do that, then there was some land acquisition that would be necessary to fit in those ramps. And then there's just the practical aspect of it. When you look at those, they're almost daunting to want to even attempt to walk back and forth. You know, it takes you about a half a mile walk just to go, 100 feet. So there was a lot of reasons that didn't make sense. But the idea of their making a statement in the downtown, I think they've achieved it with their concept. That hasn't been introduced to the board yet, only because we thought it was going slower. And so that's something that we can share with the board, that concept drawing. But the idea is to make it more convenient and to kind of make it as maybe a symbol or an icon that would identify downtown Mundelein. So, but we can share that with the board.
We call the spiral configuration of that, it looks somewhat like a snail. I'm not sure our branding logo can tolerate a snail, but perhaps.
That'd be our new logo.
We're trying not to be the snail.
I think that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. All right, any other reports, topics from any other trustees?
If I might, a question.
Trustee Sullivan, sure.
As part of the Plan Commission's agenda at the time, many of the things we considered this evening were reviewed. There was car medics. I wonder if I can ask, where's car medics in regard to the board's consideration? Car medics is a company that wants to go into the old lumber yard, or lumberyard, then roofing material company at Morris and Park Street. Where are we in considering that, the Plan Commission's recommendations there?
We actually received a withdrawal petition
They
from
withdrew?
CarMedics. Yes, they withdrew, and they are no longer proceeding with purchasing the property.
Okay, thank you. Because some of the material is mixed in with the information that we considered tonight.
That is true because it happens to be part of the same meeting minutes that those public hearings took place.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Trustee
Mr.
Voss.
Mayor, please. Actually, I feel like a little bit of a broken record, but I'm getting complaints again, as well as I see it myself. We're having a lot of weeds that are growing, I believe, probably from parkways, but they're growing into our streets. They're in cracks in our streets. I thought last year we were going to do like some street sweeping or something, that we're going to take care of those.
Well, we're attacking them as best we can. We'll never eradicate them entirely. You're never going to lose the growth through the cracks in the streets. That's an amount of care and diligence we just don't have the staff to be able to handle. What we do try and attempt to do is get aggressive with the street sweeper and clear as much as we can. But then when we have the special events that require the extra attention of the sweeper and the maintenance of the staff, that gives us that struggle we have. So right about now, that 2-week period when we're preparing for community days is when you'll see a gap in the maintenance on the street.
Well, so what I was wondering is if there's something that we could put on our website or put in Mundelein Matters, asking residents to take pride of ownership of the parkway and the street curbing by their house to pull the weeds in front of them.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I usually do about half of my cul-de-sac with kills all, and once you get started, you just start doing it and kill the weeds growing in the curb. If a quarter of the residents would actually take a little pride in public property in their general area, life would be good, I think.
Yeah, well, so if we could somehow get that word out to people, I think it'd be really good. I, walk a lot, ride my bike, and the weeds are growing everywhere. And the other thing is that I would also put in a plea to residents when they see the grates covered by leaves or grass or whatever, to uncover them so that as we have rain, they're not all covered and rain can go to the storm sewer where it's supposed to be.
Very good. Anyone else?
Is it a stretch or a realistic stretch to say it would actually save some tax dollars if they did a little of their own due diligence? Because then, we wouldn't have to spend so much time with the emergency later when everything's flooding because sewer grates covered in leaves, or the extra time it took for village staff to be spraying the weeds if they were already there doing it.
And I have a recipe for anyone who doesn't want to use pills, but it would be more organic that would kill them.
Yeah.
Well, so is this, it's vinegar and water.
When everyone waters the parkway trees and landscapes the parkway and pulls all the weeds, we can have the fifth name for Mundelein. We'll call us Camelot. And don't hold your breath.
We gotta try, Trustee Sullivan.
Yes, we shall.
It's easy to complain.
Okay. Let's move on to the omnibus items. There are 4, A, B, C, and D. Does any trustee wish to pull any of these items off? If not, do I have a motion to pass all of the omnibus items?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Voss, second by Abernathy. Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Voss.
Yes.
Abernathy.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Semple.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Village staff reports, village administrator, Mr. Lebedo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had two items. Another one that is getting kicked down the road is the Verizon petition that came before, and there was some information being requested by the board, and they requested twice now to be moved to the next meeting, so they're tentatively scheduled now for the second meeting in July, which is the 22nd. Okay. And then item number two is the board had authorized us to advertise for bid for the communication marketing manager, and that's going well. We had about 35 applicants submit, which is a good number. As you know, Trustee Kim is helping us with that, and we expect to come to agreement on our selected interview candidates, and then we'll be starting that interview probably next week, midweek if not thereafter. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Marino.
I have no report, Ms. Mayor, and I take it there's no executive session.
Executive session. Very good. Thank you. Our clerk is absent today, Katie Timmerman. Mr. Flynn, anything?
No report.
Okay. Very good. That would conclude our village meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Abernathy, second by Kim. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.
Got to figure out.